Welcome. Let's take a look at our next example. A website published an article detailing a study of 50 students who completed preparation programs for a nationwide standardized test, and our histogram summarizes their math scores for a sample of 50 students. And what we'll be doing is drawing the ogive, but now it's specified rather than cumulative frequency, we're going to do cumulative relative frequency Polygon. All right, but what I'll do first here is just complete the table and get down our frequencies just to have them. So 5 students, 12 students, 15 students, 13 students, and 5 students in each of those groupings for their math test score. And now that I have those, just going to add that column. So if I add the frequencies, if you add those, you'll get 50. Those are the 50 students that are in the study. And we're going to need cumulative relative frequency. So let's just first start with these as relative frequencies. So as a reminder up here, relative frequency means you take the frequency of the group and divide by n, the total number in the study. All right, so let's start with the 5. 5 students scored from 550 to 600. So that's 5 students out of 50. So that's our relative frequency as a fraction. And I can see here on the graph that they're going to be asking us to work in decimal. So we'll do that in decimal. You can always use your calculator to help out there. So that's going to be 0.1. And just so I can speak the first one, that would be equivalent to 10%. So 5 students scored from 550 to 600, or I can now tell you that that was 10% of the 50 students. Okay, so we'll do the rest of these, but I will just stay in decimal now. So 12 out of 50, that will be 0.24. 15 out of 50 will be 0.3. You're always welcome again to check these on your calculator. And once I'm done here with my relative frequencies, I do just like to check that if I add those decimals, we should get 1, because 1 is equivalent to 100% of students that were in this study. All right, and now we're ready to go to cumulative frequency. All right, so what we do with cumulative frequency, and I'm sorry, cumulative relative frequency, in either case, you always start with the first group, and in this case, working with relative, it'll be 0.1. And then for the next grouping, you keep the people you already counted, the 0.1, and you add in the next group, so 0.24. So that's going to bring me to 0.34. So that's 34%. So when we say cumulative, it means starting at the 550 and going up to 650. So 550 up to a 650 would be a total of 0.34 or 34%. All right, and then we're going to add in the next group. So we keep the 0.34, we already added those, and we're going to add in another 0.3. That brings me to 0.64. And then when we get to the next group, we keep all the previous and add in our next relative frequency. And now, oops, that's a plus, sorry, plus. And that brings me to 0.90. All right, so now we've added all of the relative frequencies so far up to 0.9. And then finally, when we get to the last group, adding in the last 0.1 will bring me to 1. Or again, that would be 100%. All right, and then we create the ogive, cumulative relative frequency Polygon, the long name for it here. All right, so we start with our first point on the x-axis, that first value of the score, 550, and then up to the 600. So that cumulative frequency was 0.1. So we'll draw a point there with a y value of 0.1. And we always connect with line segments. And then at the 650 cumulative frequency, that brought us to 0.34. So just approximate here. This is always easier to do on a computer, which you will be doing. So here in our notes, just make an effort. So I'll just label it again so you can see it, 0.34. And then we went to 0.64. And 0.9. And then 1. All right. And there you go. So that is an ogive, or in this case, a cumulative relative frequency polygon.